A lot of leaders we work with find themselves responding to things last minute, feeling like they're just barely staying ahead of the work requirements. So today I want to talk a little bit about some scheduling tips and tricks that I've learned, and it's really a different way to think about your calendar and getting it to work for you so you don't feel as frazzled, you don't feel as frustrated, you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I forgot this or I didn't do that. So let's start off with one simple place to start. So if this is now, and this is time going forward, and the reason there's two arrows here, not just one, is because this is how much ability you have to respond or think or prepare for something. So I like to think of it like this. If I came over to your house and said, hey, so-and-so is going to stop by tomorrow night, and you go, oh, geez, that's pretty close. And let's say it's someone who you really like or you really want to impress or it's going to be a big deal. And you may think, man, that's not very far out. I haven't got much time to prepare. Well, of course not, because it's tomorrow night. And who knows? Maybe like me, your house is a little bit of a mess. Maybe you haven't got all the food you want to cook or whatever else. So that's not as helpful. What's nice is if someone says, hey, so-and-so is going to come by in 2 weeks. Now, what I like about this is a great visual representation of look at all the time and space you have to get ready. So if something comes up and you go, oh, someone's coming by, ooh, and you think, gosh, that's going to take some time to prepare. Well, now you've got all this kind of space and ability to play with. So there's a lot more options for you or anyone else to get ready. So if you have team members who, or perhaps you realize, gosh, I'm consistently in this firefighting mode because I'm getting to something right at the last minute. That's what happens when we're only working 2 to 3 days out, or sometimes 1 day out. So if you find yourself coming in the morning, you're looking at your calendar and you're getting surprised and going, oh crud, I didn't realize I had that meeting with Mary today. That means you're really in firefighting mode and you're not looking far enough ahead. And this is important because so often one of the biggest things that leaders feel frustrated about, and I certainly felt this way, is coming in going, oh my gosh, what's going to happen today? Well, if I can plan better, oftentimes I know what's going to happen. And instead of me responding or reacting, I can thoughtfully prepare. So let's dive into that. I'll erase the bottom part of this just for a second. So everyone's got their calendars, right? Great, go team. So here's a week, and I'm not going to go into gory details, and I'm not the best at drawing all the boxes. I'm not going to draw all of them out. You get the idea though, right? Days, and I could put things on here. So like a lot of folks, you probably say, oh yeah, I've got this calendar time. I've got this blocked for this meeting, and I've got this blocked for that meeting, and this thing always happens here. And maybe I put some lunchtime in a couple of days a week. You've got stuff on there. Here's a way to think about things a little bit differently. So you incorporate this idea of how do I plan ahead. Number one, the reason I drew 3 boxes is I always look 3 weeks ahead. So if you, whenever you can, as often as you can, be sure that on a Monday morning, and I got a recurring calendar invite for myself, so it's the first thing I do each Monday is I say, I'm going to look at this week with a high level of detail. So I'm really digging into, okay, what have I got? What do I know perhaps has adjusted? If I think about what email have I got? Ooh, this meeting, I can anticipate that meeting is going to be tough. So I'm going to want to prepare a little bit beforehand. So maybe I add some time in for prep. Maybe I know afterwards I'm going to have some debrief. I'm going to want to think. So I may block some more time there if I can. If your calendar is blocked up every single day and you're going, oh, I've got this, and then I've got this, and then I've got that, and then I've got this, and then I fall down and they drag me out the door and I go home. This probably isn't helpful. I used to be a calendar stuffer, and what I found was when I did this, I didn't give myself any space. Here's how come you want space. You probably realize, boy, I come into the work on Monday or whatever day it is, or after this thing happens, and man, we've got some problems to solve. We've got some things that popped up that we weren't expecting, so we want to be able to adjust. Well, this is what your calendar looks like. You haven't got much time to do that. I like to think of my calendar as this is a chronological list of my commitments to myself or to other people. So now if I think I've agreed to give this to Bob, I have told Mary I would get this done, I have committed to Sonia to provide this to her and her team. Well, I don't want to let those folks down. So what I've started to do is to go in and say, I'm going to block some time in here. And you can call this free time, you can call this strategic time, put whatever label you want to on it. You can call it buffer time. I'm going to put an hour of buffer time in here. You may put these pieces on your calendar, and what this does is a couple of things. First off is when you get that fire situation, oh man, we got this thing going on. When in the heck can you deal with that? Well, I get to say, oh yeah, I'll work on that at 1 o'clock today. So now I've already given myself space in my calendar to absorb that. What's awesome here is you know that thing is coming. And if you know that thing is coming and you're not preparing for it by building space on your calendar, you're not really helping yourself be ready to respond to that. You're setting yourself up for a late night. You're setting yourself up for missed deadlines. You're setting yourself up for frustration when you feel like, golly, I can't really fit all these things into this one day, into this 8-hour block. I'm going to be late. I'm going to miss my son's soccer game. I'm going to miss going to dinner with my family, whatever it is. So this isn't just a work productivity thing. This is also a how do you feel at work? How do you feel about your work? So pro tip I've got, and this is one of the most important things I've learned, is if I've got a big deliverable, let's say I've got a really big item, the second I put it on my calendar, let's say I put it out here, I put it in with I like to use a different color, I like to use red. That means something is due. So I've committed to provide such and such to this person. Well, if it's a big thing and I know, man, that's going to take me an hour, I may put that hour in somewhere the day before. And I know, oh, that's to get that done. That way I've got a little slip time in case I want to move something on my calendar. Let's say this project I've got, this deliverable I've got, is a big deal. Well, I may say, man, I'm going to block that section of time. I'm going to block this section of time. I'm going to block this section of time and this section of time. And what I may do now is, and this is also really great when you're working with a team, here, this may be my initial planning session. I may say to the team, hey, we've got a deliverable due in a week. We're going to get together. We're going to slice some of these pieces out. And right from the get-go, I may tell the team, hey, save some time on your calendar to work on this. What's nice here is I've set myself up for success by giving myself time, by protecting my time, by committing to myself that I'll have the time to work on this project so that I'm not waiting till the last minute, so I'm not pulling a late nighter or an all-nighter just to get that thing done. What's also fantastic about looking 3 weeks ahead is, and looking in the future is, for me, I like to look 1 week ahead with a high level of detail. And that's really where I'm making fine-tuning adjustments. I may know, oh yeah, this meeting is going to be shorter, this meeting is going to be a little bit longer, and I've got some space. Again, if one of these flex times or strategic times or buffer times, if nothing happens, awesome. Now I've got time to think ahead. Now I've got time to not just dive into more tactical work, I may use some of that to think more strategically. What are my quarterly goals? How are we tracking on this annual project? What was the thing that got bumped from last week that I want to fit back into this week that's really essential? So when I build some space in here, I've got that flexibility. And when I look a couple of weeks ahead, so my highest fidelity week is going to be the week I'm in, then I still look with a pretty high level of intensity at the next week to say, okay, what's coming up? What do I want to think about or prepare for now? Perhaps I realize, gosh, that's going to take some time, and I'm going to schedule some time for me here to do some prep on my own before I even get to that conversation. So now I get to begin to look further ahead. And when I look at the third week out, I'm really shooting for a higher level of awareness. What's happening here that I want to have in my mind, that I want to think about starting now? And again, for me, really, when I'm looking 3 weeks out, that's the big things. Oh, I've got this all day long session with somebody. I have committed to provide a certain deliverable to somebody, and it's going to take some time, so I really want to be aware of that and start to plan accordingly. What you're going to find is that the more you play with these tools, the more you use these pieces, hopefully you're going to find you're less rushed, you're going to find you're creating a greater quality product, and you're able to support your team by making sure you have time set aside for you and for them so that you all are working together the way you want to work together on these kinds of projects. So So what that'll mean is probably less of the frantic hair on fire, oh my gosh, how are we gonna get this done? And more of the, oh, okay, we're prepped for this, we can get this to work. So play with these ideas, play with these concepts. Please leave a note in the comment section about what else you do that helps you plan ahead and prepare for your week. We'd love to hear what other folks are doing, and I'm sure you guys will have some great ideas and learn from others by what they post in the comments. Thanks for watching.